Okay, we're live.
We're live.
White paper walkthrough, volume 7. Okay, guys, let's get going. We know what we're doing now. It's not the first session, so who's going to start?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got the first paragraph. You're doing the rest, Arthur, since we've missed today. Sorry, excuse me. Bitcoin and the chains based on Bitcoin forks rely on a database of UTXO objects to track token balances for each address account. In Bitcoin, every transaction consumes, spends, outputs from prior transactions and produces new outputs to be consumed by future transactions, forming a new unspent transaction output. That can only be consumed once. Although this model has certain beneficial mathematical properties and is used to prevent double spend in Bitcoin, it also suffers from severe limitations. It is unnecessarily complicated and is inherently stateless and thus not naturally suited to applications that are inherently stateful, such as manipulation of custom assets and saving state of smart contract execution. So this is the first time I've read this, and sorry, it's only the second time. I read it 5 minutes ago. But what I got from it is the Bitcoin model is not suited to smart contracts. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Cool. Arthur?
The Dascoin blockchain. I can hear myself. Okay, that's better. The Dascoin blockchain relies instead on a shared chain state and in-memory database of stateful objects related to user data such as accounts, balances of Dascoin and possibly other assets, minting information such as the Dascoin minting queue, information regarding the execution of smart contracts, etc. The blockchain notes from the state by applying transactions from the previous blocks. The state consensus is reached by following the longest chain of blocks the node can see. Blockchain state is fully reproducible by applying the transactions in order. Pretty self-explanatory. Just again, it's a direct comparison to how blockchain is structured and Dascoin is structured, and talking about the efficiency of our blockchain. We've already talked about the longest blocks being added when we were discussing contracts, etc. Guys, anyone else? This is, yeah, we're getting into the heavy part. I suppose we've nearly done, but that's towards the end of the white paper. Some stuff. Yeah, shall I? Okay, I'm going to carry on. One of the main goals of the Dascoin blockchain are fast transactions. Because each node stores the shared state in memory, transactions can quickly be validated across the network. This greatly increases the number of transactions that can be included in a block, increasing the overall throughput of the network. Because there is no demanding proof of work required to sign a block, each witness can quickly collect and verify transactions against the global state, form a block of valid transactions, sign them with their block signing key, and transmit the signed block to the rest of the network. Nodes can also quickly roll back transactions in case of consensus failure, both in case the block being rejected, due to being on a shorter fork during fork resolution, or due to the transaction expiring without being included in any blocks. So again, there is that proof of work versus proof of stake. Blockchain is proof of work. Ethereum, I believe, still is proof of work. However, they're considering completely reframing the project into the proof of stake because of the inefficiencies. Again, it highlights the memory. This memory, it's a quick access memory, therefore it's allowing to quickly verify, process keys, and process transactions. It's again why we can be so much more efficient. This is pretty much the paragraph. Whenever someone's asking the question, why this particular form of minting, then that's what it is.
Yeah, and also if, just in case people are reading and thinking how are we getting a fork after saying, I think it was last night or the night before, that Dascoin couldn't, because of the way it's set up, it wouldn't have a fork at all. It's kind of, we talked about this earlier on, and it's a soft fork. So basically, because we're running so fast, so every 6 seconds, you know, for instance, if if a server was down somewhere or a master node was down and couldn't send the transaction quick enough, that they could theoretically just go back, sign it, and move on right and quick. Because we are working so fast, and the soft fork wouldn't entail a hard fork where you're going to split into 2 separate groups, etc. Yeah, it's pretty much, Arthur hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, they didn't quite highlight it, the 6 seconds in this paragraph, although they could have mentioned, but potentially I don't know whether they're leaving an opening for potential SegWit or what this could be, but I don't believe that there will be any need for that with the whole blockchain.
Not at all. Okay, Vivian, you're on mute, are you? Vivian, you're on mute.
I will try that again. Blockchain integrity verification. The Dascoin blockchain is a cryptographically linked series of blocks. These blocks establish a permanent record of transaction that have been verified and confirmed by the master nodes that maintain and record privileges of the blockchain. Therefore, every action stored on the blockchain has a permanent and unique identifier. Because of these features, the entire history of activities in the blockchain can be replayed and checked for integrity at any moment. An auditor can be authorized to use programmatic tools that evaluate and check that the balances of all actions are consistent and correct. This excludes the ability for a central actor or the operators of the blockchain or any intrusion to be able to manipulate the contents of the blockchain. All actions require the signature of the owner of content in order to push forward a new change. The account owners are the only ones who are capable of causing change in their balances to occur, and the operators are not capable of making malicious or forced transfer or modification of balances. So, I mean, I looked at basically is, you know, if anything, if anyone does do anything untoward within the system, it's very easy to go back, check who did it, because everything is signed and time-stamped. There's a unique identifier. If anything is done untoward, the person can be singled out very quickly, or the node can be singled out very quickly, and I suppose dealt with, and move on. There's obviously going to be an outside auditor, as we are aware. One of the top 4 accountancy firms in the world is going to be assigned to validate your blockchain. So a real extra layer of security and trust. As part of responsible board oversight protocol, it is required that an independent third-party accounting firm be hired to verify the authenticity of all blockchain activities. This firm will be paid through treasury funds under the control of the board and will have access to at least 2 ledger nodes, from which they will be given full access to query and test in accordance with the verification protocol they have designed. The verification of the accuracy and integrity of the Dascoin blockchain will occur on a monthly basis, and the outcome of these testing protocols will be made available to all participants within the DASNet system. So again, this is the third-party accountancy firm that will come in, verify everything is accurate and has integrity. It's going to be done on a monthly basis, and we can see the results of that.
Wow, that's really good, yeah, that they're doing it monthly.
Yeah, big time. The purpose of the monthly blockchain integrity verification protocol is to increase the trust within the system. The protocol has been designed to protect the security of the network and the privacy of its participants, while still providing a third-party accounting firm with full access to active ledger nodes within the system and complete transparency regarding overall operations of the Dascoin blockchain. I mean, look, they couldn't be more transparent. It couldn't have more. You couldn't possibly have more trust in it. We as individuals can be nodes, ledger nodes, master nodes. We all will have a long-term view in the company because of that. You know, this top 4 accountancy firm coming in and double checking, triple checking that, and they will have access within the system and to actual ledger nodes. So if someone wants something they can trust in, something that's transparent, and something that's, you know, if someone does do anything negative within the system, they can be eliminated and found and eliminated very quickly. It's top class.
Yeah, perfect.
Who's next there?
Rebecca.
Do we know how much? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do we know how much data one node can handle?
I think that was back, wasn't that back in the
Was
last
it 1,024 bytes?
Yeah, I think that was it, wasn't it?
So,
100,
listen for one of them.
a transaction size is 1,024 bytes.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That half answers the question, I think, because I don't know how many transactions a block can take.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know if that's there.
But presumably, once the transaction has taken up part of the value of the node, that's it, is it? It's not like recording on top of the old kind of videotape or.
Oh yeah, well, I assume there's a set amount of room in there, and once that block is filled, it's on to the next one, and there's another one coming 6 seconds later. So, I don't think we'll run out of room. What a good question, though.
Yeah, it's a question we could ask. Yeah, I'm going to ask Bernard.
Thank you.
I think we should, because we know the transaction size, but we don't know how many transactions fit in the block.
Because Fraser's put his will on, hasn't he? Or he's intending to put his will on the blockchain. I'm sure I heard Fraser say that he was going to be putting his will.
Well, that's a smart contract, Bernard. And you know, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last night. If one of us were to die, who would our accounts go to? So it is something that the company is taking seriously, and they are definitely working on something for that to be sorted out.
Yeah, I would expect, if they don't already have an answer, they will have very quickly, because it's an obvious question. Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of people asking this question, Bernard, and we get questions each week that we hand to Paul or Matthias. Just the last week we haven't done because they're away, and they asked Michael and Terry when they do their weekly meetings with them. So this has been raised before, and I'm sure we're going to hear this stuff over in Belgrade.
I would expect.
Okay, thank you.
Shall I go into vote 2? Okay. Expansion and adoption. The system increases in utility value as more people participate in the network. To achieve the goal of expanding the network, a referral-based marketing system has been built into the network software that is designed to award each participant's contribution commensurate with their individual impact on the growth of the network. Consequently, rather than use resources to cover the cost of proof of work mining, the network offers incentives to its participants to expand the network. This type of incentive system is made possible through the inherent efficiencies of the proof of license consensus model. Rather than incur the financial burden of protecting an openly configured network of peer-to-peer servers, the Dascoin blockchain employs a significantly more efficient method of reaching consensus. By balancing aspects of centralization with elements of decentralization, the system is capable of managing itself through a sufficiently randomized but highly efficient consensus method. By incorporating closed system architecture, the network is able to benefit from all the advantages of blockchain protocol, but without all the expense, inefficiencies, and security considerations associated with decentralized open system architecture. The resulting efficiencies of this permission blockchain model, when combined with a licensing arrangement, enables the network to provide incentives for advocates to promote and expand the benefits of the network throughout the world. The system is designed to account for the risks inherent to a new network and to reward participants commensurate with their impact on the growth of the network. This dynamic provides powerful marketing trust to the expansion of the network. So basically it's just saying that mining is really expensive and it's not good for the environment either. I think we did work out how much it was.
Yep.
Oh, wait, hang on, no, because I did write it down.
Did you write it down? I have it here if you didn't.
Yeah, I did. It costs $400 million a year to mine Bitcoin.
The $400 million is on electricity. That's the electricity bill.
Okay.
All over the world is $400 million US per year to mine.
You without the cost of the maintenance of the equipment.
And the
equipment itself.
$50,000 an hour.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So by minting Dascoin is it costs like literally a fraction of that, like nowhere near.
There's no reason to be doing the state of work. State proof of work instead of proof of stake. There's no point. It's just so highly inefficient, and this whole section effectively talks about what we're doing. It's the expansion through marketing, through us, rather than the company trying and paying millions, spending millions towards targeting just one geography. Just let's say UK. They've decided to go and choose and go through the network marketing model, and we know what I've mentioned several times, and other people as well, that the system is working, because there are other companies that have cryptocurrencies. They don't do nowhere near as much when it comes to the concept white paper, but they've already gone and actually have their coin on external exchanges. Therefore, we know that this is something that we can replicate easily, but we're just taking a little bit more time because we're still developing concepts and our main product effectively, which is going to be blockchain as a service.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's an important part of the answer when someone, and I certainly get asked anyway, why has the company chosen network marketing to build its base rather than a more traditional method? And for some people, network marketing can have a negative, implication, whereas this is a big part of the answer. They could go down that road of proof of work and spend $400 million a year on just electricity, let alone all the other costs that come with it, or they can spend some of that money towards a referral-based marketing system, and that's where the money's coming from. So some people go, where does the money come from to pay people to go out and refer? And there you go. It's a fraction of what would be spent on electricity.
And it is also, actually, the very first line is a utility, because if they decided to advertise through an external agency, it would still be just like 20 or 30 people inside the company only using Dascoin when it first launches or whatever. But because they've involved like now over 20,000 people in it, we've got such incredibly larger network than just 20 people. There are about 25,000 now.
Almost 30,000 actually.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Plus, it's also a better distribution method, because there's going to be thousands and millions of people around the world who might have a €100 license that would have no chance whatsoever of getting involved in something like Bitcoin. And
this will be directly proportionate to the price. This will be reflected more users use it, the higher the price of Dascoin.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, for all the kids shouting in the background, if you can hear them.
Sure.
I've found the quietest room in the house. It's not in the toilet. Okay, folks, so we're going to move on to page 33, which is the conclusion of this whole white paper. So this kind of, I'm not going to really simplify this because it kind of speaks for itself. So until now, there has been enough emphasis on the infrastructure requirements at the foundation of blockchain deployments, specifically the elements that relate to reliability, availability, scalability, and maintainability. These are crucial factors in ensuring that the blockchain can play a viable role in the financial lives of mainstream users. This is the everyday person that's not really into computers and stuff. An entire level of quality assurance has been from the blockchain technology, mainly to the inherent limitations of the decentralized nature of most blockchain technology. Dascoin has been designed to address the issues that have prevented digital currency from being adopted by mainstream users. Dascoin is structured to deliver greater security, efficiency, performance, and scalability. The Dascoin ecosystem also leverages the efficiencies of its infrastructure to incentivize its expansion. The result is a system of digital value that is built on sound money principles and ideally suited to attract mainstream users throughout the world. The outcome of the Dascoin system is the full realization of the Internet of Trust, in which authenticated users can trade all kinds of assets over a specialized virtual private network. What becomes possible is a world filled with borderless transactions conducted in all kinds of different digital assets and completed anywhere in the world, at any time of the day or night, instantaneously, securely, and for virtually no cost. And this is just the beginning of what's possible with the Dascoin ecosystem. It's by adapting trust to the digital paradigm that we can access all of these possibilities. Trust is the currency of Dascoin, and Dascoin is the currency of trust. As the reality of this comes to light, Dascoin will unlock unprecedented levels of prosperity throughout the world. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm in an advert there when I'm reading this out.
Yeah, for the same thing.
Hire me to do this. So my kind of summary of this is it's just every decision has been made for the revolve around mainstream users. And it's like for the 70-year-olds who haven't got a clue what they're doing, but they have no clue about computers. And they could buy a license and they're going to have a card. And with that card, they can spend it in the shop like they do their normal Visa and MasterCards. My next door neighbours, I was telling them about this earlier on, and the guy actually says, I would rather bury my money out the back. I was like, why would you bury your money out the back? And he says, at least I know where it is. I says, okay, so what's the bank do with your money? He says, they store it in their vault. I says, oh, right. So you think when you put your money in the bank doesn't spend that? He says, no, they don't. They put that in their safe. I said, okay. So I've told him to come on tonight. So hi, if you're watching. It's really, I think it's unprecedented of what we have actually got here and what Michael Matthes's vision is. And I don't know how many times throughout all these episodes I've said hats off to the guy, but honestly, like what an amazing brain he has to think of all this stuff. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's very obvious they did a serious amount of research before they put this together and looked at what the downsides of other coins are and how they could make theirs different. I mean, from the very fact of the centralized aspect, they knew there had to be some centralized aspect to it. But as we've seen, there's a very heavily decentralized. I mean, I thought the decentralized aspect was just the wallet, but it's so much more than that, and we can get very heavily involved in decision making and even proposals that can be put forward, and that's just one aspect. It's every single decision has been made based on how can we make this, what are all the parameters we need to put in place to make this go mainstream or allow it go mainstream. Including, going the referral route was. So it's amazing, absolutely. Like reading this white paper has been a real eye opener for me. It's brilliant.
It's just that line that James that you've read out. What becomes possible is a world filled with borderless transactions conducted in all kinds of different digital assets and completed anywhere in the world at any time of day or night, instantaneously, securely, or for virtually no cost. How can we go wrong with that? How?
You can't.
Everyone wants this.
Yeah. And if they don't, they will.
Yeah.
They will.
And then they wish they joined earlier.
Yes.
Not even about wishing they joined earlier, because I strongly believe, like in 5 years' time, when people are still just finding out about Dascoin, there's still going to be the people who's paying the banks, extortionate fees to send money to their sons and their daughters in Australia, from the UK. Santander, there was a thing a couple of weeks ago. I think it's 5% they charge you, or 10%.
£394 to send 10,000 from the UK to Spain. 394.
Shit.
Why?
So that just shows you the fees that the bank.
And like 5 days to do that transfer.
Yeah, 5 days to actually get
they
there.
make even more money.
Yeah.
Could they get a return flight for cheaper?
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Mutual funds are stealing from you in excruciating fees. Every single week, either Barclays, RBS, HSBC, or whatever bank you have in your own country is being accused of money laundering. And that's just peanuts for them. They will be continuously doing it because they know that they're still going to make more out of you.
Yeah. How much time do we bail the banks out?
Yeah.
We the normal citizens as the taxpayers. Yeah. It's us that pays for all their mistakes. And they're just running the corrupt world. You know, look at America. Who are just printing money. They're just printing it with no value. So you can see why digital currency is picking up, because it is you that owns that money. You are in control of it, and no one else is going and saying, okay, well, there's the price of oil going down. Let's stick $2 billion on the oil and we'll charge the taxpayer if it all goes belly up.
That's me and John. 3 hours ago, he didn't have a clue what blockchain is, what Dascoin is. He understands why we're doing this now.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are waking up to the fact that we are going in this direction. As someone said before, you know, it's like 40 years ago, when the guys working in the shipyards and the mines, etc. People might say, you're going to use these plastic cards, you're going to use that to pay all your transactions, and they thought, you're crazy. You know, what's this? This isn't money. And now every day it's a straightforward thing. You know, it's
I actually know the guy in the AIB in Ireland who brought credit cards into Ireland, and I've told him about this, and he was going, look, this guy is 75 plus, real nice guy, but it was exactly this. I was, because he had told me this before, so I was saying, look, this is like when you, because he was saying, look, I don't quite get the cryptocurrency, and I said, look, it's just like when you came in and you were trying to bring this into Ireland, these credit cards. Obviously, people were used to having cash at the time, maybe a check, but like you say, the plastic thing, how is this possibly going to pay for anything? How can I do anything with this? And even more so, if it's a credit card, you don't have to have the money. You can spend it first. And you know, so he said it was a huge deal to try and get people across this. And now everybody has these cards as if they're nothing, you know. And that's where we are. We're at the very, very beginning of the cryptocurrency thing. And it's
how crazy credit cards or debit cards are. I was at the event. I just got back, and I actually bought a training on how to invite more people to seminars, etc. that I will be taking part of in September. And in order to pay, I needed to put my credit card information, my name, my address, my security number, and the expiry on a piece of paper.
No.
Come on. No, but that's how it is. That's how it is with the cards. Whenever you pay with cards, even over the phone, you're giving out all this information.
Sure, look, when you book a flight, the same thing. I booked the flight to London today to get out to Belgrade, and all that information. Not only do you have to put it in, it pops up automatically now because you've been on the flight before. So like it's including the credit card details, the whole lot, just bang, up they come. The only thing I had to put in was the security code.
People think that this is secure or whatever. Nowhere near. It's right there in the open. It's crazy. They're just used to because they do not see what kind of alternatives they have. And with us, it's going to be like.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get through to the guy next door. It was like, you know, you have so much trust in banks, etc. He says, nah, this just sounds too good to be true. I says, it's because it is. It is too good to be true. But you know what? This actually is true. And I showed him different coins. I was like, look at this coin. It does this, and that's all it does. I like, look at this coin. And that's all that does. And after telling him a couple, I was like, this is Dascoin. And Dascoin incorporates all of these other coins into one, plus more. And he's, I'm not buying this at all. not banned at all. So I actually says, okay, Joe, what I'll do is I will buy you €100 license. I says, and when the price goes up, you can pay me the €100. No.
Oh, God.
You can't win. Can't win.
You've got the early adopters and you've got the late adopters. It's just how it is.
It is.
Well, you
But
know,
people are starting to come around to it.
it's good to have late adopters too, because they're the ones that'll drive the price up for us later.
Yep.
They're the ones.
I'm hoping those Russians are going to be late adopters.
They're the ones. The late adopters are the ones that would take the longest time to actually change onto something else potentially. So there will be, once you've convinced them into Dascoin, then there will be hardcore.
Yeah, true. So that's the whole WhitePaper's done, guys.
No, it's not.
Guys, next week, because we are going to be going to both ways. What?
You have totally missed a page.
What, the back page?
You've missed the most important page.
It's kind of just a picture of
I know.
Dascoin and what all's around it, but you know we couldn't really explain that because that
no explanation. But what I'm just want to show is everything that Dascoin incorporates.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Can you miss it out? Because when we went in September, we just thought we were going to see this bit in the middle, Dascoin.
Yeah.
Everything else, what we've read through it, everything else round about it is what makes it different.
Yeah, and I think that circle is going to get wider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
And you can. This is almost pretty much like a roadmap, because web wallets, that's partially out. We're still waiting for further levels and votes. Aspa is coming out. The validator, we're going to have it next week. Net leaders, that's already in place. We're just waiting for the 3.0 version to be released. KYC authentication, that's coming. Third-party account verification, that's coming. It's a roadmap.
Yeah. Like Michael said, everything, there's a timeline for everything.
Yeah. Good stuff. Questions before we stop recording? Or you stop recording, Debbie?
Mick, any questions, Mick? Hey, Mick, any questions? No. Bernard, any questions?
No, I'm fine. I got my question in at the beginning. Thank you very much.
Have you enjoyed the calls?
I have enjoyed it. I was thinking, you know, the American Declaration of Independence?
Uh-huh.
Sounds random, but carry on.
Sorry?
Sounds a bit random.
Yeah, well, no, because it leads into the phrase I'm using. As government by the people, government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it makes sense.
Dascoin is currency of the people, by the people, for the people.
There you go.
Well done.
That's not a bad way to wrap this up.
Yeah, we should.
I just like the notion that it's got effort. There's no big money people behind it. It's just us, the people.
Yeah.
And it's a currency by the people, of the people, for the people.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Thanks, Bernard.
It's not a question, but I just thought I'd share that. I'm going to claim copyright on it, however, if I see any of you using it.
Thanks for coming on, Bernard. He's been on there every day.
Say again?
I said, thanks for coming on. You've been on every day.
All right, no, you're welcome. I'm sorry about the other night when I had to dash off down to the studio. We have a Pilates studio, and the girl made a mess of setting the alarm.